Hello and welcome to the Career Growth Platform UX case study. This project comes from Info 7375 UX in the Era of AI course in fall 2025, and it represents my end-to-end journey from problem framing through research and prototyping, all the way to validation. In this walkthrough, I'll show you not just final design, but the decisions, trade-offs, and user insights that shaped it. Before we start, a quick introduction about myself. My name is Atharva Varanashivar. I am a graduate student in the Information Systems program at Northeastern University, and my work sits at the intersection of UX, AI, and product thinking. Over the past semester, I've been focused on understanding how AI can meaningfully support human learning and career development, not just through automation, but through trust, clarity, and thoughtful design. This project, the Career Growth Platform, is a culmination of everything I've learned in research strategy, UX design, and AI assisted prototyping. What you're about to see is not just a final interface, it's the entire story of how a real user problem evolved into a validated human centered solution. With that, let's begin. Let's start with the problem. Today's learners are drowning in fragmented tools. On this screen, you can see a collage of typical ecosystem, resume builders, course platforms, spreadsheets, LinkedIn, Notes app. Each one does a small part of the job, but together they force learners to stitch their own growth map. That leads to four big issues: no clear view of real skill gaps, overwhelming choices, low trust in algorithmic recommendations, and no integrated way to connect portfolio, mentorship, progress in a single place. This led to one guiding question for the project. What if we could unify skill discovery, learning, portfolio building, mentorship, and progress tracking in one explainable AI driven platform? That single question shaped everything you're about to see now. The Career Growth Platform is my answer to that question. It's an AI enabled web application that identifies skill gaps, generates personalized learning paths, supports portfolio building, connects mentors and peer groups, and tracks goals, milestones, and long term growth. Think of it as a 360-degree career companion instead of yet another isolated tool. I led both research and design for this project. On the left, you can see my responsibilities: UX research, information architecture, interaction design, visual design, and AI augmented prototyping. On the right is the 10-week cadence, starting with research, moving into synthesis, low fidelity exploration, high fidelity design, evaluation, and finally refinement. So, this wasn't just a UI exercise, it was full product thinking from start to finish. To ground the platform in real user needs, I used a mixed methods approach that includes task analysis, future state flows, observation, and moderated interviews, cognitive walkthroughs with users, and AI simulated feedback using tools like ChatGPT and Cloud. I then synthesized everything using thematic analysis in Dovetail, ran a heuristic evaluation using Nielsen and mobile heuristics, and finished with a moderated usability test that captured both metrics and qualitative feedback. Here's a quick glimpse into what that research actually looked like. In this clip, you will see a participant struggling to interpret AI generated skill scores or further tasks. Let's see.
Multiple questions. It's just one question at a time. You either attempt or skip it. Like I don't know yet. But there should be a way to bookmark the questions, come back to the questions, and reselect the options. Because in this case, you just select the option, and that's your final answer.
It is little time consuming for every generation of each question.
So, I guess the output graph is fine, but it's still not showing me where I lack, which all questions were incorrect and which part I should start to learn more. So that exact recommendation is still missing.
I don't know, either this is not looking that attractive or it is not giving me a summary of what it has. Like if I see, let's say Kubernetes of software, I would want like 2-3 points beneath that saying what exactly will I be able to learn in that. But for that, I have to like get into each course and see the summary.
It's not something that is very appeasing to me, the box structures, but yeah, I like the various content that I've got so far, like immediately based upon the questionnaire that I was submitted, and yeah, maybe the rules as well.
What that means, last time what I remember, it used to give it on my home page, what all courses are going on and which are I'm still using, means which are still running. I haven't completed yet. That's what I remember. But right now it's difficult for me to find out.
But I needed that skill description that we saw in Coursera, which says what exactly I'll be learning or what I'll get with this. What you learn, this looks very generic and short. I would need more details or the exact technical terms that I'll be learning in the end.
In general, I reach out to the people who have already worked with or someone who are something similar to my field.
Just the plural side, it's just like from the colors, the color palette that didn't feel very good to me. And for LinkedIn, while it has some good features where it gets your LinkedIn profile and suggest you courses, but the navigation pane and the course navigation pane was a bit cluttered.
So, moments like this across multiple sessions were the early warning signals that explainability and trust had to be first class design requirements, not nice to haves. The first key insight was about clarity and trust. Users did not understand how AI skill scores were calculated. Radar charts looked impressive but they felt opaque. Across sessions, people kept asking for the why behind the recommendations. Without the rationale, they were reluctant to rely on the platform to guide their next steps. The second insight was cognitive overload. Long, dense pages, too many modules, and weak hierarchy made it hard for users to know where to look first. Overloaded dashboards become noise instead of signal, especially for users who are already juggling studies, work, and job search. The takeaway, less but clearer, is more powerful. The third insight was navigation and discoverability. Users often weren't sure how to retrace their steps in the flow, and they sometimes missed critical actions like generate learning path. Subtle distinctions like overview versus customize caused hesitation and extra cognitive work. The platform needed more predictable navigation and more obvious affordances. Insight 4 was about mentorship and community. Professionals wanted quick, almost transactional access. They cared about mentor availability and expertise right away. Students, on the other hand, valued more structured paths and peer groups that matched their context, like field of study or goal. So, the mentorship model had to support both immediate access and structured support. The fifth insight was that progress tracking is incredibly motivating when it's done right. Streaks, goals, milestones gave users a sense of momentum. But redundant metrics, small text, and overcomplicated visuals actually reduced the impact. Users asked for fewer, more meaningful indicators that clearly showed, am I moving in the right direction? With those insights in mind, I moved into persona and journey work to humanize the data and design for a believable real user story. Meet Anya Deshmukh. On the left, you see her basics. She's 22, an early career graduate student actively preparing for internships. On the right are her goals and frustrations. She wants to understand her skill gaps, build a credible portfolio, and follow a guided learning path. But she's dealing with cognitive overload, unclear AI scoring, and a lack of rationale behind recommendations. In many ways, Anya is the person this platform is built for. Zooming a bit, here's Anya's needs profile. She needs guidance, transparency, and reassurance. Simple navigation with clear starting points. visual summaries that show her where she stands and what to do next. On this persona card, you can see how those needs translate into concrete design requirements, especially around clarity, explainability, reducing fiction. This is a condensed view of Anya's journey across the platform, from her initial trigger through the exploration and action into reflection and outcomes. You can see how her experience cuts across different features: assessment learning, portfolio, mentorship, and progress. This journey map helped me position features not as isolated pages but as connected steps in a narrative she can actually follow. Emotionally, her arc looks like this. She starts with curiosity, runs into uncertainty when loading states or scores are ambiguous, hits frustration when context is missing, and finally reaches relief and confidence once flows are clarified. Designing for that emotional curve meant adding guardrails in the uncertain moments and amplifying the points where she feels confident and in control. These insights and this journey led to clear design goals: reduce cognitive load through simplification and progressive disclosure, enhance explainability of AI outputs so users trust the system, unify the flows for assessment, learning, portfolio, and mentorship, build motivation with goals, streaks, and milestones, and maintain accessibility, consistent patterns across the entire experience. To achieve these goals, I used a layered design strategy. First, combine human research with AI simulated feedback to accelerate exploration. Second, use low fidelity prototypes to validate the underlying structure and information architecture. And third, iterate into high fidelity designs based on real usability findings, not assumptions. Once the research was done, I moved into low fidelity prototyping to lock down structure before worrying about visual polish. This slide shows the actual Figma Make prompt I used to generate low fidelity wireframes. The constraints were intentional: black and white only, no gradients, no UI kits. Each of the 5 major tasks had to be represented step by step with clear labels, arrows, and a consistent layout. By stripping the visuals down to pure structure, I could focus on hierarchy, navigation, and flow exactly where early mistakes are the most expensive. So here, as you can see, I divided the flow in the 5 tasks and asked Figma Make to make this design for me. Here is a walkthrough of those low fidelity frames in action. As the video plays, notice how each core task has its own clean sequence: assessment home, analysis in progress, results with radar and action. Then, learning path summary and customization. The customization part of the learning path was the most important one while designing the learning path as a feature or as a task. Here comes the portfolio editor. Here you can edit your projects, your work samples, and your credentials. And then comes the preview. The community section has mentorships and peer groups. And finally, the progress dashboard and goal setup. At this stage, the aim wasn't beauty, it was clarity and alignment with the user. Summing up the lo-fi phase, for assessment, I framed entry and radar signals together with the immediate next actions. For learning, I structured modules so users could replace or add content without breaking the plan. For portfolio, the upload and verification steps came first. For mentorship, I emphasized availability slots and microprofiles. And for progress, I focused on concise streaks, goals, and benchmarks rather than dense analytics. Once the structure in low fidelity was solid and tested through cognitive walkthroughs, I moved into high fidelity design, turning this skeleton flows into a polished AI enabled experience. In this high fidelity walkthrough of skill gap assessment, you can see several changes driven directly by user feedback. Resume and LinkedIn options are now placed side by side above the fold. Target role selection happens before the analysis, and the radar chart includes tooltips that can explain both demand and scores. As the video plays, notice how the user can move from upload to insight with much more context and far fewer what is this moments. Next, here's the personalized learning path. The weekly timeline breaks the journey into manageable chunks, and every module has why suggested explanation to reinforce trust. Users can replace or add modules while staying anchored to the overall plan. As you watch the flow, look at how interface balances AI guidance with user control. The system proposes, but user decides. This is Hi-Fi Portfolio Builder. Drag and drag uploads keep the process simple. Issuer verification badges increase credibility, and a clear upload handling reduces confusion between resume content and the portfolio artifacts. The preview screen lets users see exactly how everything will appear before publishing. While this video runs, pay attention to how the layout and labels work together to lower anxiety around am I adding the right thing at the right place? Here we have mentors and peer groups. Mentor cards now show key information and availability slots immediately so users don't have to dig for basic details. Peer groups can be filtered by topic and breadcrumbs inside discussion threads, help user maintain orientation. In the playback, note how easy it is to go from I need help to here's a relevant mentor or group I can act on right now. Finally, this is the updated progress dashboard. Streaks, milestones, and skill benchmarks are presented with a much cleaner hierarchy. The goal is to give users quick motivating snapshot. What have I done? Where am I headed? What should I focus on next? As the video plays, you can see how the dashboard shifts from being a cluttered report into something closer to a personal progress story. Once the high fidelity prototyping was done, it was time for final testing. But before final testing, I ran a heuristic evaluation. This surfaced issues around consistency, system status visibility, and action clarity. For example, button labels that were too vague or loading states that were easy to miss. Those findings were prioritized for critical flows like learning path and portfolio, and they guided refinements to labels, microcopy, and feedback patterns across the UI. In the final moderated usability test, the numbers were strong. Participants completed 24 out of 25 tasks successfully. The mean usability rating was around 9.18 out of 10, and we saw a clear reduction in confusion around navigation and AI interpretation compared to earlier rounds. So the design didn't just feel better to us as designers, it objectively performed better for users. Now, this clip shows that improvement in action. You're watching a user complete the learning path customization tasks and all other tasks with final design. Notice how they move through the flow with very little hesitation. They understand where to click, how to adjust modules, and what happened next. This is exactly the kind of calm, confident interaction we were aiming for.
Very efficient, it was pretty fast, and based on my skill set, it also tells me what should I do and what should I not, which is very efficient.
Timeline, how we can do it, means which model to do when and all that, and also a good progress bar to just give an overview whenever you come back to the site that okay, I have finished till this much percentage, and you'll get an idea means how much time is more required for you to give to complete it.
I like this particular feature that has like to make it easy to edit and also preview it.
Honestly, the mentor's profile, the mentor's feature looks good. I'm able to get what I need quickly. Everything is self-explanatory. I can also see the availability of the mentors so that I can like compare the mentor which is the available of the earliest.
It was quite easy. It clearly at first I did not understand what milestones were, but as soon as I saw this, it actually makes sense. And yeah, it's good to have such like a to-do list kind of set of place.
Now that we had finished most of the design phases, it was time to reassess. Looking back, several things worked particularly well. AI assisted workflows helped me explore more design directions faster. Research driven decisions kept the product aligned with real user mental models. And unifying the experience across assessments, learning, portfolio, mentorship, and significantly improved both trust and motivation. At the same time, there's still room to grow. I'd like to add stronger onboarding that explains AI scoring and data privacy upfront. Embed more learning content directly to reduce context switching and implement real time mentor availability. With instant booking, those would make the platform feel even more cohesive and live. This project left me with three key lessons that I now can clearly carry into other work. Explainability builds trust, especially when AI is involved. Reducing cognitive load can be just as impactful as adding new features. And the best outcomes happen when AI and human research are combined rather than treated as separate tracks. To close, here is a single flow through of the core experience. You will see the journey from assessment to learning path to portfolio to mentorship to progress tracking as one continuous story instead of five isolated pages. This is the career growth platform at a glance. An AI enabled, research driven, learner centered system designed to turn career anxiety into actionable forward motion. So, Here's the video. User now has finished the first task and is going through the results that are generated for them. Once they finish the first task, they go on to generate a learning path for themselves. This learning path, as you can see, in detail tells them what they are expected to do during each module. They can edit the module, they can replace, rearrange, or add new modules into the structure. After this, they can build their portfolio with projects, credentials, certifications, and work experiences. The visibility status of each of the single item in the portfolio can be managed, so that if you don't want something to be shown on your portfolio, you can handle it likewise. The preview mode has mobile, tablet, and laptop or desktop, so that if a visitor is coming through a different platform, you can see how they'll see your profile. And then there comes community aspect, where you can connect with mentors, request sessions in your preferred time zone and in your preferred mode of meeting. And then you can join peer groups for several discussions or create a new one of your own. And here on your profile dashboard, you can see how you have been doing so far. Set new goals for yourself. Select from a template or create a new one entirely. And then set milestones. You can link every milestone with a goal so that you can complete a milestone and work towards your goal. And then there are basic settings for editing your profile. Thank you for taking time to watch this case study. I hope this gave you a clear sense of how research, AI, and UX design can come together to build a more trustworthy and motivating career growth experience. I'm happy to answer any questions.